There's a story about Rav Tzvi Hirsch 𝗟𝗔. Rav Tzvi Hirsch of 𝗟𝗔 was known as the 𝗟𝗔 HaZohar. He was the prince of the Zohar. Already from a young age, he was renowned both within the Hasidic world and within the world of the Vilna Gaon and his students as an expert in the Kabbalah, in the Zohar, in the Kisvei Arizal. He was a remarkable genius of a person, in Nigla and Nister both. And there was a particular meeting that took place between Rav Tzvi Hirsch and the 𝗙𝗏𝗃 HaChoshen. The 𝗙𝗏𝗃 HaChoshen is one of the great Gaonim in Lamdos. The Sefer of 𝗙𝗏𝗃 HaChoshen is considered. There are certain yeshivas where, like, if you don't know these 10 𝗙𝗏𝗃 HaChoshens, like you're not Amaretz. You need to know at least these. These are like the bread and butter of Lamdos, of learning like Talmud with a fine tooth comb, specifically in monetary law. So the 𝗙𝗏𝗃 HaChoshen one time met with Rav Tzvi Hirsch 𝗟𝗔. He bumped into him and he said, "Tell me something." He said, "You're a genius. I see you're a genius. And I know that you're part of the camp of the Baal Shem Tov and his students. So tell me, what did the Baal Shem Tov bring to the world that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who all camps, whether you're Hasidic or Mesnagdic or whatever you are, Sephardic or Ashkenazic, everybody looks to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai as one of the great rabbis of all time. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and what he revealed in the Zohar HaKadosh, and the Arizal, what he did, which also no one has a problem with the Arizal. So in the mystic tradition, they already did the work. What did the Baal Shem Tov, what was like the chiddush of the Baal Shem Tov? What did he even do? So Rav Tzvi Hirsch 𝗟𝗔 said to the 𝗙𝗏𝗃 HaChoshen, he said, "I'll give you a parable." He said there was once a man who came and he was telling everybody about this amazing bird that lived in this tropical island. And the thing about this bird is that it looked and sounded exactly like a human being. Its face had these very human characteristics. And it could speak, not like just a parrot or it could parrot. It could say novel, creative things. It could have an actual conversation with it, not just the things that it memorized. And people thought he was crazy. And he described this bird that he had once encountered. Came along a second fellow. And the second fellow said, "I'm going to go to the island. I'm going to go see this bird for myself. And not only that, but I'm going to bring with me someone who can, an artist who will be able to, I'll bring digital dream art with me, and on a tablet we'll make a picture of the bird, and I'll make a few voice recordings, or in the original telling of this story, and I'll write down in the notebook some of the witticisms that the bird conveys, and I'll bring it back to the people." That's what he did, and everyone said, "It's interesting, but it's a little strange. This is a bird with a human head, and it's a whole bizarre thing." Until finally there was a third person who went to the island and said, "Enough with this. I'm just going to go bring the bird back. I'll bring it to the people and show it to them what it is." So Rav Tzvi Hirsch 𝗟𝗔 said to the 𝗙𝗏𝗃 HaChoshen, he said, Rashbi, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he told the whole world that there's something called the Ribbono Shel Olam. And he described the Ribbono Shel Olam and how the Ribbono Shel Olam interacts with the world through a series of pipelines, spiritual pipelines, these emanations, these divine emanations called the Spheros, and he was describing it. And it was something that was so out there that it needed to be kept as a secret doctrine, for all this time. And then the Arizal came and he said, I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to actually make this into like a picture that people can sink their teeth into, and I'll describe it a little further, and I'll make it into something that is digestible, at least to some people. Until the Baal Shem Tov came and he said, I'm just going to bring the Ribbono Shel Olam to the world. I'm going to bring Hashem to people. I'm going to show them how this kind of out there Kabbalistic idea is in their meal that they're eating right now. It's in their business meeting that they're having. So when I think about what Rav Kook is doing here, there were people who spoke about tshuva before Rav Kook. The Rambam wrote about tshuva, Rabbeinu Yonah wrote about tshuva, the Meiri wrote about tshuva. There are books about tshuva, the Baal Tanya wrote about tshuva. And there are different dargas that the Jewish people underwent in going through this world of tshuva and having it brought down to the world. And Rav Kook was saying, I'm fighting this, ani 𝗙𝗏𝗵𝗵 pnimit. I'm fighting this inner battle. I just want to bring tshuva to the world finally. I'm done with talking about here's how you do it, and here's the theoretical, and if you did this avera, then say this 5 times and fast this number of times. I want to bring the world of tshuva to people. Bring the bird back and have people be actually able to see it and to feel what it is to do tshuva. But on the other hand, there's a reason why that bird was kept hidden for a long time. There's a reason why tshuva was kind of put to the side in terms of all of and some of the ways that we spoke about in the previous 2 shiurim. in the way that teshuva touches on free will, and in the way that one of the chashuvei, the ladies who joined us in the shiur, came over to me after and said, but isn't this a dangerous idea? This idea that like it's all good and even your mistakes are good, and isn't that a license to do bad? And it's very murkav, it's very complex, and she's right. So we need to make sure that we're learning this in a way that we have a good guide. And Baruch Hashem, we have an amazing guide in Rav Kook.